recording. And I will turn it over to your presenter today, Andrew Ocean. Andrew?
Thanks, Holly, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to share my screen, so if you give me just a moment, and we will then go ahead and get started with the session. Not the part of the screen I wanted to share. There we go. That's what I wanted to share. So good afternoon, everybody. First, I want to thank the CAPE Conference for giving us this opportunity to present. What we're going to do today in this session is really going to do a broad overview. So if any of you are familiar with National Geographic learning, a lot of this will sound familiar. Hopefully some of it sounds invigorating and inspiring as well. We are going to do, again, a broad overview of really kind of who we are and what we do. And how that fits into your particular context of teaching adult learners here in California. And I actually like to start with a personal anecdote. You know, having attended a couple of sessions today, including the great opening session where there were a lot of programs that were highlighted today. I find something very personal, about the nature of this conference, both the ties to California. I'm native-born Californian. Vested in California, love California, but then also the importance of adult education. And my story starts, and I've never started a presentation talking about this, but I will today. Talk about my mother. My mother was a single mother, raised 3 young, very boisterous kids, and she found herself not long after her divorce, both single, but also without a career or a college degree. And so she went to City College of San Francisco first, and then Skyline College next to get her degree and also a career vocation in respiratory therapy. And for her, that provided her with not only material resources, having started, relying on food stamps to make ends meet, to having, a full career where she was able to raise 3 children in San Francisco and live an incredibly meaningful life. She just retired, so that's my ode to my mother. But why I'm bringing this up is for 2 things. One is because I appreciate firsthand the value that adult education plays in the state of California, and that starts with a starting point and providing adult learners access to something incredibly meaningful, practical, and powerful. And the other reason why I wanted to bring this up is that education really does start with the individual, doesn't it? It's a creative act, and it's all about empowering the students, empowering the learners, and giving them that very clear pathway and that opportunity to do something that may seem very abstract or unattainable at the start. Tying it back to the plenary of Ken Shelton, he said, and I have the quote here, pull it up because it certainly resonated with me. But he said we have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. And so I thought that was incredibly meaningful. And he also asked the question that I thought was a good one, and I think he asked everybody in the room was, please complete the sentence, we design learning which, as I fill in the blank. And I'd like to use that as my jumping off point for today's session about National Geographic learning. And that is to say, we design learning which puts the adult learner really at the center of the learning experience. I'd like to start with a quote from one of our executive editors, Sean Birmingham, who's worked with a number of our series, and I think he encapsulates very much what is at the heart of our publishing. And I'll read it. Sean says, authentic content that's global, relatable, accessible. Those are really the foundations for all our English language teaching materials, because we believe that learning and teaching English shouldn't just be about going to the page and doing exercises. It can be a real journey of discovery, and we invite everyone to join on this journey. That's, I think again, getting to the heart of what National Geographic Learning does, and there's a lot in there, but at the core, it's authentic content that's real and relatable, and then also the learner and what the learner is doing with it. So I'm going to play a short video. And again, this video does a really good job of giving you the broad overview of how we approach teaching and learning. And again, it kind of speaks to that question of how we approach it. So I'm going to play this, and I'd like you just to kind of sit back and kind of enjoy, take it in.
At National Geographic Learning, we serve English learners by reflecting the mission and work of National Geographic in our programs. We are inspired by Alexander Graham Bell's original goal for the magazine to be about the world and all that is in it. And we try to bring the world to the classroom and the classroom to life. If you look at our learning programs, you'll see that they're like workbook versions of National Geographic, filled with incredible photography, fascinating stories, and the real work of explorers. Explorers in particular resonate with learners because the explorer's search for knowledge and understanding is the very essence of education. At National Geographic Learning, we believe it's an incredible world, and we want to share that with students. We want students to be filled with awe and curiosity by amazing photographs and stories of their world and all that is in it. Because we know that a curious student is a motivated student, and we believe that a motivated student will be a successful student. With our programs, we're always mindful that we're not just teaching vocabulary and grammar. We're opening up the world to students who have otherwise not experienced it. Students in China, Vietnam, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, Eastern Europe, literally everywhere. We want to help these students experience their world and develop their voices. Besides having great National Geographic content, we also work with TED Talks, and we are TED's exclusive partner in English language education. TED Talks are the single most widely sourced videos for English learners, popular both because of the ideas in the talks and because of the natural English used by both native and non-native TED speakers. Ultimately, the incredible content we have from National Geographic and TED enables us to develop programs that are relevant, motivating, and powerful learning tools that bring the world to the classroom and the classroom to life.
So I wanted to show that video to give you a sense, again, a broad sense of what we do, specifically what we do with content and why we do it. One of the lines that Dennis Hogan said that always sticks with me when I see that video is that a curious student is a motivated student, and a motivated student is a successful student. So often in adult education, you talk about, getting students not only in a program, but persisting through that program and staying with that program and making the transition into the next step, whether it's a college or a career or a CTE program. And that's a difficult thing to do. Our approach to that, one way that we address that sense of motivation, is giving students the content, adult learners, the content that is going to inspire them, it's going to interest them, it's going to tap into their background knowledge, their interests, their curiosity, their sense to just wanting to learn more language. It's not just about learning grammar structures. It's not just about, learning a very specific set of vocabulary to help them, do a particular transactional function. It's a lot more. Certainly, that's how we approach language. So what do? We provide English learner materials for adults at all stages of language development, from beginning to advanced, and help adult learners build the skills necessary to succeed in their pathway. We do that by presenting great content. Obviously, with National Geographic as our partner, we have access to incredible content, including incredible photography, readings, audio, video, and a number of other resources. And we put those into our materials. We put those into our materials to help students build their listening, their speaking, their reading, their writing, their grammar, all of their language skills. And that manifests in a number of different ways. So we build that into different conversational exercises, discussions, things that are on a group, again, being really practical, whether it's goal setting, interviewing, preparing topics for, switch this out, topics that are also very practical. And this is one that's about leading a stress-free life. I mean, who wouldn't need help with that? Who isn't interested in that? We all live very incredibly stressful lives. You know, making sure that the classroom reflects the world, right? Reflects the reality of your adult learners is absolutely critical, not just to engage them, but also kind of respect them where they are, meeting students where they are. I've heard that theme kind of come up in a number of different sessions over the past 2 days of the conference. We provide an incredible range of not just topics, but the way we present the topics as well. So we use a lot of infographics. We use a lot of authentic text, a lot of readings that are adapted from either National Geographic or other periodicals that are in the real world. We're not contriving things just to fit a particular language function, but rather we're taking things that are authentic and real and meaningful and motivating and building them into our language materials to make sure that learning is both motivating, engaging, and authentic. We use real people, real places. That's one of the hallmarks of what we do is authenticity. We have we're fortunate enough to have TED as another content partner, and so one of the things we like to say is our materials contain all the world and the ideas within it. And TED is a great representative of that. Again, to take topics that are relevant, that are meaningful and current, and putting them into the language classroom of the adults. So our goal is to help learners and teachers to achieve their personal success and be better citizens of the 21st century. We want English language teachers and your students to experience the excitement and joy of learning and to bring your classroom to life. So that's who we are, that's what we do, and that's how we build our materials. Now, of course, we know in your curriculum, it's critically important to have materials that are getting students to the next step, meeting some of those core essential needs. And so, of course, all of the materials that we have are standards-based, standards aligned, and they will prepare students for college and careers. So we do have correlations of many of our materials to the Common Core, to the English Learner Proficiency Standards, to EL Civics, and to CASAS. We have a lot of those articulated in actual correlations so that you can see, okay, what's being covered in this particular unit, what's being covered in this particular book, what different skills are being addressed, how are they being addressed, and where. We've got that all out for you so that you can really focus on what you're doing in the classroom so that you can maximize communication and provide that depth of knowledge that is so important today, as students, as more and more is being expected of you to help students prepare for that next step, again, whether it's career, whether it's college and academic. You'll see in our materials that we do not only incorporate, again, the world, but we go for depth. So this is an example of a page from one of our series. It's the Pathways series. I think it's appropriately titled. It's a very academic series. And again, like a lot of our programs, we do take a content-based approach. This unit is on in one day on the planet Earth. You can see here is a number of statistics. For example, the world's population grows by about 200,000 people each day. More than 8 million people travel the world by plane. This was actually a before COVID statistic and page. I'm sure it certainly dipped in the time of the pandemic. It's coming back certainly since, but you can see where a page like this would inspire a lot of communication, a lot of discussion in the classroom. The idea here, this is one of our infographics. The idea here is that we want to introduce content that is, that students will have something to say. So students will be interested. In terms of access, it's we try to create it so that it's very accessible, so that students don't need a lot of language in order to access a particular topic area. We also use a lot of numbers. We know numeracy and providing again multiple multiple contexts is important to access the content and to be able to discuss it. Here's another example of an infographic. Again, this is also from the Pathways series. The topic is exercising your brain. One of the things that we found in the research that we've done is learners love to learn about themselves. They love to learn about the brain. For some reason, the brain is a really a hot topic. So, but these are the types of things that we incorporate into materials so that we can foster critical thinking. We're not just talking about it as a concept, as a construct. We actually build it into our materials and demonstrate, or frankly, we give the students, the learners, the opportunities to demonstrate their own critical thinking. Can we actually teach people how to think? Of course not. People think for themselves. People bring a lot of their own background and a lot of their own experiences. What we do is we give them the opportunity to express that. We give them the content so that they're applying their own ideas, their own opinions, applying their own analyses to the language learning context. And so again, I think that's a hallmark of what we do. When looking at it in the course of another textbook series that we have, it's called Standout. It's used widely across the state of California and the country to help prepare students for both career and academic. Here's a topic. It's I think this is taken from a jobs unit, where its communication goal is to help a supervisor problem solve. We provide the context and a heuristic. In this case here, students are interpreting. But again, this is, I show this as a typical example of the kinds of materials that we present in all of our courses. So the third thing that I wanted to point out to identify what we do at National Geographic that I think is both unique but also central and critically important is that we do use real-world content. We use real-world content and include subject areas that adult learners need, want, and frankly, that they deserve to learn about in their language classrooms. And this ensures a high-quality learning experience. So let me share a couple of, again, topics that we introduced. This one, balancing your life. It's the way I see it is, why not apply in the classroom what students are experiencing outside of the classroom, things that are meaningful to them and that are important to them. So here's an example of a topic from, I believe this is Standout Level, and I'm not sure. I saw Dana, you were on the call. You might actually know better than me. But this is from that series, Standout as well. Here's another one, also from Standout. Topic is getting hired. Again, real image. This is in the Google office in Switzerland, I believe, not here in Palo Alto. Another topic, of course, critically important is health. We all heard on yesterday's opening about the initiative in the state of California, where they are allocating $130 million for English learners to be more integrated into healthcare professions. Again, so as a topic, this is something that is in every unit or in every book of Standout. It's also one of the key topics in all of our materials. Here's another one about the on-demand economy. If we think about something that is absolutely totally current and very important, and something that is going to continue to shape the future of our workforce, it's the on-demand economy. And so these are the kinds of topics that we build into all of our materials. And this one is from the series Pathways. Here's another one from the series Pathways. This is the truth about trash, and it's a science and technology unit that focuses on pollution, problem, and solutions, what we can do about it. And it's again an approach that we take in partnering with both National Geographic and with TED. One of their missions and our shared mission is to address some of these very important problems of the day. But not only that, but also to give people the opportunity to express, present, discuss, and learn about those solutions that are associated. Another one that's very near and dear to our hearts here in California is water consumption. This is a unit about hidden water and the amount of water it takes to make things like a t-shirt. Who would have known? If anybody in the chat wants to pop it in, how many gallons of water it takes to make one cotton t-shirt in the course of a day. Or if you think about how many gallons of water it's used to produce 1 pound of beef, which is actually absolutely shocking and enough to make you kind of go off of meat altogether. But when you think about, again, this in the abstract is interesting. Put in the context of our lives here in California, it's absolutely essential. We want to teach communication skills. We want to teach vocabulary. We want to teach students to be able to express their ideas, to be able to hear ideas, to be able to take input. These are exactly the kinds of topics that we should be engaged in addition to all of the others. But this is fundamental. This is foundational. And this is exactly the kind of content that we use in all of our materials. There's another unit about making decisions and how can we choose the right career. I mean, obviously, this is directly applicable to what you're doing in your classes and in your building into your curriculum, is helping students make these big decisions and make choices. This is a unit actually from a brand new series that's not yet published that will be coming out in the spring. It's called 21st Century Communication. Actually, we have a current edition. This is from the new edition. And it's a series, a listening, speaking, and critical thinking series that we've done in collaboration with TED Talk. So again, something completely relevant, something completely contemporary, and something that students will certainly be able to find both joy and purpose in engaging with. Here's another topic, also from the series 21st Century Communication in the new edition, which will be coming out in spring. Aim higher, or aim lower, reach higher, which is, I love the topic because it really inverts that notion onto its head. But the topic gets into this, well, this question explores this question of, well, how should we set realistic life goals? So again, one of the things I really appreciate about our materials is you can open them up and find something absolutely engaging and interesting and meaningful, and you'll learn something from it. And that's exactly the kind of thing that you want your students to be doing, is it's meaningful learning and it's genuine learning. And so again, this is something that we build into our materials, and that it's very much at not just front and center, it's really at the heart of everything that we do. So now the fourth topic that I want to address, and this is, again, this is something that is unavoidable this day and age, and that's having a digital delivery. And so one of the things that we've put a lot of emphasis in, certainly over the last couple of years, is having not just print, but also digital and blended solutions. So what we do is we publish materials for all classrooms. We provide online and offline resources that you need to teach with confidence and ease. And so we know that in-class instruction, again, I heard a reference to that in this morning's plenary with some of the, when there was the spotlight being put on the successful programs. And one of the points of correlation was we need students in the classroom. And we see when students are in the classroom, they're more engaged and they're more likely to persist. It's very hard to engage students when they're solely online. And so our materials are built for the classroom. They're meant to be collaborative tools. They're meant to be engagement tools. They're meant to be tangible so that students can write, flip back and forth, learn with the materials. I think most of us are tactile. You know, we're tactile people. We like to touch things, tangible things. I think a lot of us would agree. We're all to some extent visual learners, and so we build that into our materials. You know, that real, not just appeal from an aesthetic sense, but also from a memory sense and a learning retention sense, to have materials that are visual so that you can connect again more tangibly with those materials is absolutely important. At the same time, we built and have materials that are not only for the class, but also for online, so that we have blended solutions, we have digital solutions, and frankly, we're only getting better. So what I'd like to do is just spend a little bit of time just giving you a broad overview of all of the digital materials that we have to offer. And we have a lot of digital resources, and we're continuing to evolve. We have, for you, the instructor, we have classroom presentation tools, which if I have time at the end of the session, I'd be glad to give you a brief demonstration of what these classroom presentation tools are, which are essentially the entire book with point of use tools like embedded media, video, audio, interactive activities that you can use in the classroom with the students. We have ebooks for students. We have online workbooks also. Again, this is one of the areas where we're really improving, but we've got online workbooks for all of our course materials. We have companion sites so that your students can access material at no additional cost. That's true for the standout series, where we know students, they may have heard something in class one time, but they want to hear it again. They can access these materials outside of class as well. We have teacher resource sites. We know that, again, classrooms are very mixed. You've got different contexts, you've got different needs, whether it's multi-level, whether it's literacy, whether it's you need digital resources. So we provide all of those through a teacher resource site where you'll have access to additional worksheets. You'll have access to the audio, to the video. You'll have access to those correlations that I had talked about. So again, we know that having teacher resources is as important as having really good source materials. Some teachers are new to the profession. Some teachers have been teaching a long time in the profession, but they might be new to something like teaching digitally. So again, we provide all of those support resources. We also have Canvas course shells. So I know Canvas is broadly used across the state of California. Obviously, in the community college system, it is the LMS that has been adopted. So anybody who's teaching in the community college environment, we've got Canvas course shells for several of our materials. For those of you who are in adult programs who are adopting Canvas shells, which I know there are many, again, we've got ready-made Canvas shells to give to you at no cost. We provided them again as a support resource. But in lieu of Canvas shells, so let's say you're using a different LMS. So let's say you're just like, hey, look, I've got my own Canvas shell already. I've already developed something. That's great. We also have integration, and this is something we're really excited about for really across the board. So if you're using Canvas, Moodle, if you're using Blackboard, we can now integrate all of our online workbooks with your LMS. And so that's something else that we're able to do now that we weren't able to do before. And we also have customizable assessments. We know that, of course, assessment is really important, being able to track students, tracking their progress, being able to have those formative moments in your class where you're just kind of assessing where they are. We've got assessments, again, very robust assessments for all of the programs, certainly all the ones that I've touched on today, and they're customizable. So if you've added any particular lesson into your course, you can continue to add those. So what I'd like to focus on, since I mentioned it, is this LTI integration, and this is something as we move forward, we are, we're certainly doing more of this with different programs, and we're really excited about it. So what is LTI? LTI allows us to integrate my ELT with your LMS. It's a single sign-on situation. We know that students across the board, it's just like signing on to this, signing on to that. One more play, got to sign on. This is single sign-on, so it eliminates that altogether. And in fact, now we're going codeless, so we can do that without having to worry about fussing with codes. Our newest version of the LTI is the LTI 1.3, where we'll have deep linking with assignments. That'll be ready in spring 2003. And we'll also have gradebook integration so that you can, again, have everything in your LMS gradebook. That also will be ready by spring of 2023. Now, the benefit of this, to those of you who haven't integrated with your LMS before, or for those of you who are using your LMS, this will facilitate that hybrid instruction. So if your students are half in class, half out, you're doing that high flex, this model is ideal. But even if you're not, even if you're doing everything on in your class, and this is what students would do outside of class. This will increase your LMS usage within your program. So I know when I've read through some of the plans for the different consortia, I see that this, digital literacy, increasing LMS usage is one of the priorities, and it's a nice connection. Canvas in particular is a nice connection between the school district adult school programs with the community college and the non-credit community college. And the non-credit community college, it's a nice connection with the for-credit programs. And so all of this is just, it's nicely, it's a nice point of cohesion, as we're looking for all these different things that can connect. And we're happy to be a part of that. We're happy to be able to support that initiative. And so, as I said, promoting digital literacy among students. I mentioned the Canvas course shells. Now we do have Canvas course shells with 3 of our programs, and that will include Standout. It will also include Pathways. I showed different, some of the sample pages were from these 2 series. We also have Canvas course shells for another great series. It's Great Writing, and I've heard writing come up in a number of sessions as well as a really important skill that has been underserved, over recently. And so Great Writing it's for us, it's our best writing course, and it's a leveled course, 6 levels. And so it starts at the sentence level and takes students all the way up to writing a research paper. So you can see the real clear connection between both academic space as well as the professional and workforce areas. So. And the Canvas course shells, I think I mentioned this already as well. They're free. We've provided those with the series at no additional cost. And what we've done is essentially kind of taken, the units, some of the images, some of the activities, not many, but we've built those into this shell, literally the shell, which you would then use in your course to build out further. So just a real quick, since I talked about it over the course of the presentation, and as we're kind of rounding out the end of the session, I just want to give you a little more information on the different series that I've referenced. The first is Standout, which is a 6-level series and starts at a lower beginner and takes students to the advanced. It's CASAS aligned and competency based. And so a lot of activities, if you use the CASAS as your assessment instrument, this will help students prepare for that, but more importantly, it kind of really speaks to some of those core need areas that the CASAS is addressing. It's fully aligned to that. Standout is an integrated skills series with a focus on language output. There is, in terms of teacher support, there's a lesson planner which is written by the authors. So Rob Jenkins is directly involved in this series, along with Stacy Johnson, and both of them not only wrote every level of Standout, they wrote every page of the lesson planner. And so it's a very cohesive program. It's very well articulated, and it's also written from the perspective of an instructor. Both Rob and Stacy Rob retired recently, but was a teacher, was in the classroom, did a lot of teacher training, and that you can see, as an instructor, you're like, yes, I know this is written by a teacher, and I can see that this is clearly well thought out and very intentional. So we've got that lesson planner. Critical thinking, again, is something that comes up a lot. We talk about the 21st century skills, things like creativity, communication, critical thinking, collaboration, a lot of these really important skills that are hard to put a finger on. Again, I think the plenary speaker did a great job of saying, well, how do you really assess those? And Ken was almost saying, like, they're almost, inaccessible in one sense, but still incredibly important, is having these critical thinking skills. They're highlighted in Standout and very deliberately built into there. So students are doing more than just kind of practicing language. They're doing genuine kind of problem solving activities, analysis type of activities, these comparison contrast type activities, again, which is more than just doing this quote unquote rote learning. It's definitely more student centered, definitely more interactive and involved. And then finally, we have comprehensive resources to support instruction for this series. So That standout at the end, I'll have a QR code which you can kind of sign on to see the again, get more information on the series. The other one that I mentioned is Pathways. This is a 5-level series, high beginner to advanced, so it starts definitely higher than Standout, and its focus is really on academic skills. Gets rich into the content, focuses on reading and writing, as well as listening, speaking. So it's 2 separate strands. Has an integrated skills with a focus also on language output. It gets definitely into critical thinking and that depth of knowledge, which is so important in a lot of programs, especially now, especially when we're looking towards the new CASAS test. That depth of knowledge is really important. Pathways goes right into there. If you remember that image of the globe that I showed, that was an image from Pathways. And as with all of our programs, there's comprehensive resources to support instruction. And then finally, Great Writing, which I had mentioned. It's a 5-level series, goes from a high beginner to advanced, develops writing from the sentence to the essay. As with all our materials, it gets into critical thinking as well as depth of knowledge. And it also has comprehensive resources to support instruction. The last thing that I want to mention is a brand new series that we have that I think would fit so nicely into so many of your programs, and that is the series of Reflect. And Reflect is brand new. And one of the things it does very nicely is it kind of goes in between that point of Pathways, which might be very, very rigorous academically, and Standout, which really focuses on a lot of those everyday skills. Reflect fits nicely in between those two. It's a 6-level series, goes from beginning to advanced. It's also a reading and writing and listening speaking series. High interest topics, I think, is really kind of what is at the core of this. So a lot of what we were talking about in today's session, authenticity, authentic topics, interesting topics, with a student-centered approach. And I think this is the hallmark of Reflect, is it really puts the student in the center of the learning. One of the structural characteristics of this program is there's a reflect activity after every 2 pages, which personalizes all of the learning that students are doing, which again, I think has been one of the themes throughout the session or through the conference. Also gets into critical thinking and collaboration skills development, prepares students for both transition to college and workforce. Again, I should have included that. And it does exist on a new platform. This platform integrates our ebook with our online practice. And so, as I mentioned, that our technology is getting better and better as we evolve. This is one of the examples of that, is where we are now on a platform that does integrate teacher resources, ebook, and online practice. So it's really just kind of a one place for everything type of program. So the last thing I wanted to talk about now is kind of the 5 things about who we are and what we do. Talked a lot already in today's session, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say that really at the heart of what we do is we want to publish materials to help students with their personal, their professional, and their academic goals. And I'd like to end with a video of a student. We actually we were in Chicago a couple of years ago, and we were just working with the teachers and talking with kind of what they do and what they how they're using National Geographic learning materials. And they brought in this student, Latte, and they said, we really think you should talk to him, because he would be somebody who can really speak to your materials and what you've done and what they do, of course, as a program, and how it's benefited him. So I want to share this video. I think it's a great video, and it's a great way to kind of summarize everything that we've talked about today, but put it in a very important and personal context.
Hello, everyone. My name is Latte Romaric Lawson. I'm from West Africa, Togo. And today I'm going to talk about myself. I have to start learning English because English is not my first language. My first language is French. and I have to pass through the ESL program. First of all, my first time I got in this country, I start with dishwashing. That's the first job my brother found me. I took the BNAT, Basic Nursing Assistant training, and I took the state test. I passed the test. Now I work like a nurse assistant. We have the elderly and some people who came from hospital, help them to get back in shape.
All of our students are very special in our program, and they all come here with unique stories. One of those students is Latte.
So Latte is a rock star. There's no other way to describe him.
Latte was one of the students who took advantage of the opportunities that we had to offer in our English as a Second Language program. He also took a Bridge to Healthcare class that we offer within our program. Who knows, he could be my doctor one day.
We have to help each other to reach certain goals. Like the doctor have to help the mechanic to be healthy, and the mechanic has to fix the doctor car. All of us have a specific role in the world.
So I want to thank you all for joining with us today. I hope you got a good sense of who we are as National Geographic Learning and what we do in terms of how we publish materials, not just in the materials themselves and what they look like, but really in our philosophy and our approach to developing content, which was, again, kind of the topic of today's session. I hope you found something in here that you can see in your program, in your curriculum, in your classroom. If there was, we're happy to help. I'm here with my colleagues, Tim Wells, who works with Los Angeles Unified and the areas around that, including, just not an area around it, but including Sacramento and the Central Valley, and Nicole Clark, who works in the San Diego area, Imperial Valley, the Orange County, as well as in the San Francisco County. And I forgot to introduce myself. I introduced my mother, but I didn't introduce myself. And I'm Andrew O'Shea. I work with both Nicole and Tim. So thank you again for your time. Thank you for your attention. If you want to learn more about our materials, please do reach out to Tim, Nicole, or me, or you can go onto this QR code to find a little bit more about our English language learning materials in the catalog. So that was our session about why content matters, teaching with National Geographic Learning. I hope you have a great rest of your conference. I've certainly been enjoying it, and I hope to hear from all of you again soon. Thank you.
Yes. And thank you so much, Andrew, Nicole, Timothy. We appreciate your presentation. For the participants, before you leave, let's figure this out. So you guys are participating in the conference, hopefully to learn, but a benefit of that is that you're earning points in everything you do. You are receiving points, and at the end, the prizes will be given to the top leaders of the leaderboard. I want you to know that National Geographic Learning has donated 2 prizes, so 2 winners will be selected for them. They have 25 seat licenses for their most popular adult ESL program, Stand Out, and then they have another winner will receive 25 seat licenses for their latest ESL academic program, Reflect, which Andrew went over both of those today. Those are both amazing prizes. Each one is valued at $1,500. So be sure to get the points. And I'm going to go over really quickly. Attending sessions gets you points. The exhibitor lunches are a high point. That's 750 points. If you were in the room for 90% of today's session, Zoom reports is how we get that data. Also by communicating with our exhibitors. And so a lot of people, I don't think, have been able to exactly figure out how to communicate. So what I will do in this last couple seconds, which we do have some time, if you can bear with me, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you exactly how to go see your exhibitors and how to get your points. So when you're at the Cape Summit website, let's just say that we're here, we're going to go to chat. And you're going to scroll down and you're going to see National Geographic Learning. And this is how you're going to communicate with this team of presenters you had today. Now, keep in mind, your communication needs to be meaningful. It can't just be, hi, how are you? It was great to see you today. I enjoyed your session. There has to be an exchange between the two of you in order to be marked as a meaningful communication. And the exhibitors will be giving us a list daily of who they communicated with. We will then assign those points for that communication. So please be sure to not miss those point opportunities. On their website, they have their catalog listed on the exhibitor page. If you click on the National Geographic logo, you will see their catalog as well as all of their contact information. To Andrew, Nicole, Timothy, we appreciate you. The Cape Summit could not do what we do without your, you being exhibitors. And I know you've been with us for a little bit. Next year, we're going to be live in person, probably Southern California. So here's to hoping as soon as we get a hotel and date set, we will reach out. We'd love to have you guys join us in person. Attendees, thank you for spending your lunch with us. This is day 2. We have 2 more days to go. Without any other questions, the chat was very busy. This is probably the most busy session I have been in on. So we appreciate you, and we will see you guys at different sessions throughout the session.
Fantastic. Thank you, Holly, and thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your conference.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.